Hello and welcome to the Monsters, Myths, and Mayhem podcast. Silver here, and with me as always is
Chaotic.
Chaotic. I have a question for you.
Oh God, what? Why did you say it like that?
Have you ever wanted a servant that'd do pretty much anything you ask?
I feel like this is a trick question. This is a double-edged question. I don't like it. No, I don't. I do not want a slave, but it would be nice if I could have hired help that did anything.
What if it was neither a slave nor hired help?
I'm intrigued.
Well, that leads us to our monster today. It is the Golem.
The Golem. Yes.
Golems are made of clay, usually.
Usually.
Golem wants rings.
That's fair. They're both a little bit of questionable babies, so it's fine. They're the same.
Intelligence-wise, they're probably about the same.
Yeah, I'd say probably.
Do you know much about the Golem?
No. Please enlighten me.
Have you heard of golems before?
On a passing note, I do believe.
The golem is from Jewish folklore. The earliest reference to the golem is actually from the book of Psalms in the Old Testament of the Judeo-Christian Bible. So about 4th to 5th century BCE, and that was talking about God's creation of Adam because he formed Adam from clay.
Okay.
But the more common golem is a monster made of clay that takes commands from the master who makes it, and he takes commands very seriously. So, like, if you go tell the golem to go catch you some fish, he will go catch fish. He won't do anything else with the fish, but he'll go catch the fish.
He'll catch them. I guess that's technically an important part.
But he will not bring them to you. He will not do anything with them.
But he'll
he
just
will
catch them.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that feels like half effort, but it's fine.
Or if you tell him to get water from the well and put it in the barrels, he shall keep on doing this, even if the barrels are overflowing with water.
I love that for us.
Golems take their commands very seriously.
Very seriously.
So you gotta be very specific about the details of the orders you want to give him.
Gotcha.
So as you can kind of tell from their taking instructions very seriously, golems have a very low intelligence. Low to none. They say sometimes golems have as high of an intelligence as a 5-year-old.
Okay.
At the most.
We love that.
They're usually shaped as a man, and they can either be very detailed or not so detailed. The golem's original purpose from some of the earlier stories is to be a guardian.
Mm-hmm.
They were originally made to guard the Jewish people from disaster and anything bad that happens.
Mm-hmm.
There was actually a story about the Golem of Prague where the Jewish community was in trouble from King Rudolph because there is a thing called the blood libel going around.
Oh.
Do you know what that is?
No.
It's where people were saying that the Jewish community would take Christian kids and kill them and take all their blood for their matzah, I believe.
Okay.
This was all a big old lie, though, and it still is a big lie. That's hence the liable.
Oh,
And
look at you.
during this time, back in King Rudolph's time, a golem was made in order to protect the community.
Uh huh.
Golems are usually made by the rabbis.
Uh huh.
The golem was on watch duty and he sensed something was going down and he ended up catching a butcher. He went and stole a baby from a graveyard, put it inside a pig, and was going to leave it in the Jewish community in order to instigate this war between religions with King Rudolph.
Okay.
And the golem ended up finding him and tying him up before he could instigate anything.
Oh.
That was a very thin retelling of the Golem of Prague. There's a bunch of other shows that go over the details of it, the rabbi and how it's made, which we can go over how they're made. Because if you want to make a golem, you will have to know the true name of God.
Okay. These guys are a little, for being like they'll do anything like Bob. They're pretty cocky about it,
Cocky about,
about doing all their stuff, like all the specifications, all of the exact to the point. Like they're just like it's like instructing a robot.
yes, pretty much. Oh, robots are connected to the golem.
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah. So, do you know how robots got started?
Oh my god! Please inform me. I cannot wait.
So robots first came about, from what I've seen, from a play which actually coined the term robot. The play was called Rosam's Universal Robots
Oh.
by Carol Capek in 1921, and it was actually written in Prague. And it was the robots were designed after the golem.
Oh.
And funny enough, from what I heard as well, the word glitch is also Yiddish that came about during the same time for a glitch in robots.
Wow. So I was just on the money.
Because you know how robots go crazy, right?
Uh huh.
Well, golems do as well.
Okay. They like
There's
hard. They
several.
like they're like they're obviously they're not hardwired, but they freak out.
Yeah,
Okay.
they end up going crazy and causing destruction. The There's a couple different ways that could happen, whether they're extremely damaged or they're not deactivated on a Saturday.
Hmm. Okay.
Well, being deactivated on a Saturday has to do with the Jewish tradition of resting on the Sabbath.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So if he doesn't get deactivated and him himself rest, then he could lose control and go on a destructive path. Which there's several ways to deactivate the golem when you're under its control. When it's under your control, it's extremely easy. As in just your okay, so before I tell you how we deactivate him, I'll tell you how you're supposed to make a golem. There's a couple ways to make a golem. So you get the true name of God, put it in its mouth, and recite the name 7 times as you're walking around it.
Okay.
Sometimes you can just write truth on its forehead and Hebrew. I believe it's Hebrew. And to deactivate, when you go to deactivate it from this method of creation, you just wipe a line away and it turns truth to death.
Turns truth to death. That's very dramatic. Continue.
Then the other way is to deactivate it when you do the circling or you put the piece of paper in its mouth is to remove the piece of paper from its mouth and that'll deactivate it. Or you also have to run around it saying God's true name again 7 times while it's going on a rampage.
My. What an intricate Ritual.
Hmm. And I believe in the Golem of Prague story, it took the rabbi. It took the rabbi, his brother-in-law, and the rabbi's first disciple in order to make the golem because the rabbi had the power of air in him. His disciple was fire, and I believe his brother-in-law had water, and his clay was
Mm.
earth. And with their powers combined, they made the golem.
Okay.
I didn't quite understand how you choose which power you're manifested with, or how they got their powers. Yeah, but that's pretty much all the facts that I can think of or find with the golem. They're pretty simple creatures themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They like to do orders. They do what they're told. Sometimes they go on rampages. They're protectors. Any comments, questions,
I do
concerns?
not. I do not have any. I'm a little surprised that I was so on the money with the robot thing. That was pretty cool. But no, I don't have any other.
Would you like to go to media?
Yes, I would love to know what all these guys are in.
So media is with golems.
Mm-hmm.
Can you think of anything that you've seen, whether it's like a clay doll, a non-humanoid, or a humanoid with soulless functions?
Um, I cannot specifically know. I'm sure once you name things, I will.
Yeah. It's quite a common trope in any of the fantasy series. X-Files from 1997 had an episode with golems in it. You could also see golems in Supernatural, The Magicians, a CW show called The Legacies, based off of, I thought it was Vampire Diaries.
Yeah, that's a Vampire Diaries show.
Yeah, where legacies are actually fighting a golem through the whole series.
Oh,
Are you a Vampire Diaries person?
I am, but I didn't watch originals or legacies, so the entire
Ah,
TVD is gonna come from my throat. I wasn't a fan. Okay, thanks.
there's still a chance to go back and watch them.
No, I was not a fan of those particular vampires. I was more of a Damon and Stefan fan, and since they are not in the other shows, I'm good.
And there's a certain famous author who has been said to take inspiration from the golem
Uh-huh.
when she wrote her famous tale Frankenstein.
Oh.
A bunch of inanimate objects put together and given life. So Frankenstein's monster is kind of a golem. It's a flesh golem.
That's kind of wild.
1995's Gargoyles had an episode with a golem in it. It was actually the Golem of Prague. You can fight golems in D&D,
Ooh.
whether it's clay golems, flesh golems, iron golems, rock golems. I think they even got like elemental golems now, like lightning golems, fire golems, which you might run across some in Baldur's Gate as well.
I have not run across them yet, but it would not surprise me.
I'm sure a wizard could probably summon one eventually, because you can actually your D&D characters can actually make golems. They got an instruction manual on how to do it. Also, more video games that have them are Minecraft, which has the iron golems, and now the copper golems, which they go around and they just push a button. The iron golem defends, and the copper golem pushes buttons. And Dark Souls, there's a golem boss.
Has a golem boss?
Yeah,
Oh my god.
those are the main shows I've seen, but I'm pretty sure they got golems in other fantasy series. They like to bring them in because usually they're pretty indestructible, pretty strongly built because they're made of earth.
Mm-hmm.
If you tell them to like defend your house, they'll come over and just defend it.
Just defend it.
Mhm. But you might have to tell defend a house, but let me in.
Right, that's fair. You have to be so so specific.
It's like a genie with wishes,
Yeah.
except not in a lamp made of mud.
Made of mud, differences.
Not as heavy as an episode to this week as last week, where we had a lot of stuff.
Yeah, definitely not as heavy.
So, mayhem.
Yes.
Where should we start mayhem wise?
I don't know. Where do you think is best?
I'd say mayhem wise. Let's just go general mayhem. If everybody knew how to make a golem and could easily do it.
Oh my god. Humanity should not be allowed. Like, that's all I gotta say about that. We should not be allowed to do that. Could you imagine how many golems would be doing exactly what their person told them to do, and it wouldn't be the right way because humans would not know how to be specific enough?
You know what it reminds me of, right?
Yeah.
It reminds me of Big Hero 6.
Okay.
Like if everybody had their own little personal golems and no, that's not Big Hero 6. What am I thinking of? It's another little robot show where the robots everybody had their own little like egg-shaped robot and there was one that was different.
I do not know.
I don't either, but it's not Big Hero 6. Pretty much any robot show where robots just go bad. It reminds me of those.
iRobot. iRobot was an intense one.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
It's a Will Smith one. You'll have to watch it sometime. It's pretty good.
Who's Will Smith?
I will throw you out. I will literally throw you out a window. You already know who it is.
Yeah. He's the guy from Men in Black.
Correct.
And he's the guy that slapped the guy at the Emmys.
Correct.
Yeah, but they would lose control too if no one gave their golems a rest. I'm sure they would go crazy. Then someone would have to try and imagine a golem could beat another golem or hold it still long enough. I guess it's probably based off of how well you make your golem.
Now I'm just picturing everybody making terrible golems.
I mean, the art students would probably get a big old budget.
That's fair.
I need you to commission my golem, make it into a dog. I think mainly golems are anthropomorphic. They're two-legged. They humanoid. If a golem was in school, though, like college class, a college of monsters, where do you think it would be placed in at?
Honestly, that's a hard one because they're like, I don't know anybody. Okay, so this is gonna be questionable. Okay, what about the really intelligent kids that like did everybody else's homework? But yeah, I don't know because that's kind of hard because I don't really feel like they fall technically under any like status quo.
I don't think so either. They're more of the, I hate to say servant category.
Yeah,
But
I
they
know,
like to
but
pay.
like they're the lunch ladies.
Yes, simple commands, give food to students.
Yeah, they're the lunch ladies. And that's not a hate on lunch ladies. Lunch ladies are the shit.
Yes.
But yeah, lunch ladies.
I imagine if you teach your golem how to cook step-by-step procedures, it'd come out great every time.
Mm-hmm.
If you gave your golem fingers.
Oh my.
The golems would have to have fingers in order to grab a hold of stuff. I mean, they could also be janitorial staff. Sweep the halls. Pretty much any worker, laborer could be a golem.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought of another media place. You could also find golems in podcasts, whether it's the stories about the Golem of Prague, or there is a podcast called The Gorgon Show, where a Gorgon interviews monsters. And Penny the Gorgon interviewed a golem. Yeah, that's all I can kind of think of mayhem wise. They wouldn't really cause much unless they're ordered to, which they could be, but they're mainly defenders. They're the tank of the team. So, with that, we shall wrap things up. And Chaotic, do you have any news for us?
Storyteller in the Fog is possibly on a break until after September. We might do it October because September is a very big month. I have to do a lot of stuff family wise. There's a lot of big appointments. So I may wait until October. So that's the only announcement technically.
Okay. It is on hiatus.
Yes, just for a month.
From our last episode, our Discord poll and Twitter poll for what people would like to see us do if we can't both make it at a time, or instead of skipping a week, they said more guest episodes to fill the spot. Well, chaotic with the outro.
Oh, yep. Hang on. Give me a second.
Oh
What
yeah,
chaotic. Oh,
thanks.
what?
I forgot to mention our Patreons.
Oh yeah, you
Patrons.
better fucking do that.
Mondi, Ruby, Mage. Thank you guys.
Mondi, Ruby, Mage, Dab.
And so far, Mage, no word from Danny DeVito.
Rude. Thank you for listening to the Monsters, Myths, and Mayhem podcast. Silver and Kaotic take you into the depth of the lore and discuss how these legends could affect modern day society. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or almost any podcast service easiest to you. Dive into the depths of chaos with us every Wednesday, bar Silver and Kaotic not missing their scheduling, and consider joining the podcast Discord or Twitter following even more insider looks and even some D&D sessions. If you'd like some extra special inside looks or even want to be a guest on the show, consider helping us via Patreon. Your help makes such a big difference to us both. Until next time, Mythics, you never know what kind of mayhem we might get into. Also, for $100, I will wrap that bitch. So if anybody donates $100, I'll wrap. GG easy.